Far beyond Earth, where stars looked cold and distant, there was a place no human had ever seen. It was not a planet. It was a station, massive, silent, and filled with life that was not human. Inside, a council had gathered. Tall figures, strange shapes, glowing eyes, each one different, but all powerful. They sat in a wide circular chamber, watching a single image in the center, a small blue planet. Earth. The room was quiet. No one spoke at first. The only sound was a low hum from the machines around them. The image of Earth rotated slowly. Clouds moved. Oceans shined. It looked peaceful, but the data around it told a different story. Numbers flashed. Weapons count rising. Energy use increasing. Signals spreading into space. One of the alien leaders finally spoke. His voice was calm, but heavy. They're growing too fast. Another one leaned forward. Its eyes narrowed as it studied the data. They were divided once. Weak, fighting among themselves. A pause. But now they're learning. The council did not like that. For many cycles, they had watched Earth. At first, humans were not important. Just another young species. No threat. But something had changed. Humans were unpredictable. They made mistakes, but they learned from them. They fought each other, but they also united when needed. And worst of all, they were curious. They kept reaching further into space. One screen showed human machines orbiting their planet. Another showed signals sent into deep space. A third showed weapons, small compared to the Council's power, but improving every year. One of the older members of the Council spoke slowly. If we wait, they will reach us. Silence fell again. That was the fear. Not what humans were, but what they could become. Another voice, sharper this time, said, "We have seen this before. A species grows, becomes strong, and then becomes impossible to stop." No one disagreed. They had ended other civilizations before. Quietly, quickly, without war. War was dangerous. War caused losses. The Council preferred control. Clean solutions. Final solutions. The leader raised one long hand. The screens changed. Now they showed something else. Dark figures. Fast. Silent. Assassins, the leader said. These were not soldiers. They were hunters. Created for one purpose only. Elimination. They could move unseen. Change form. Adapt to any environment. They did not feel fear. They did not fail. One council member asked, "How many?" The leader replied, "Enough." Another asked, "Timeline?" A short pause. Immediate. The decision was made. No vote. No debate. Earth would not be given a chance to grow stronger. It would end quietly. Far away, on Earth, everything looked normal. Cities were full of light. People moved through streets. Cars, voices, noise, life continued as always. No one knew they had been marked. No one knew something was coming. High above the planet, hidden in the darkness of space, small objects appeared. They did not make a sound. They did not glow. They simply arrived. One by one, they entered Earth's atmosphere. No alarms were triggered. No systems detected them. They landed in different parts of the world. Cold places, warm places, cities, mountains. The assassins had arrived. Their mission was simple: end humanity. But they did not attack immediately. They observed, watched, learned. In one city, a scientist worked late in a lab. He studied energy systems, trying to solve a problem. He never saw the shadow behind him. The next morning, he was gone. No sign of struggle. No trace. Just gone. In another place, a military base lost power for a few seconds. When the systems came back, everything seemed normal. But one important file had been erased. No one knew how. In space, a satellite stopped working. Engineers tried to fix it. They failed. It drifted into silence. Days passed, then weeks. Strange things kept happening. People disappearing. Systems failing. Small problems, but growing. Still, no one connected the events. Except one place. Deep underground, hidden far from public view. There was a secure facility. Inside, a small team worked in silence. They watched global data. Patterns. Signals. At first, it looked random. But one analyst noticed something strange. He looked closer, then closer again. His heart started beating faster. "This doesn't make sense," he whispered. Another team member walked over. "What is it?" The analyst pointed at the screen. "These events, they are connected." The other man frowned. "No, that's not possible." The analyst shook his head slowly. "They are too precise, too clean." More data appeared, more patterns. Now it was clear this was not random. This was planned. A third member joined them. "What are you saying?" The analyst took a deep breath. His voice was quiet but serious. "We are not alone." Silence filled the room. No one laughed. No one argued. Because deep down, they already felt it. Something was wrong. Something was watching. The leader of the team stepped forward. "Can you track it?" The analyst hesitated. "I can try." Another pause. Then the leader said something that changed everything. "Do it." The room became active. Screens lit up. Data moved faster. But as they searched, something unexpected happened. The system flickered. Just for a second. Then again, the analyst froze. "Wait." His hand stopped moving. Someone asked, "What is it?" He stared at the screen. His face turned pale. "It's not just us looking for them." A long silence. Then he said the words no one wanted to hear. "They're already inside our systems." At that exact moment, somewhere far above Earth, one of the assassins stopped observing. It had learned enough. Its mission had moved to the next phase. And for the first time, it began to act. On Earth, nothing seemed different. But everything had already changed. Humanity just didn't know it yet. Not until it was too late. Deep beneath the surface of Earth, inside the secure facility, the air had changed. No one spoke loudly anymore. Every voice was low, careful. Every movement felt watched. The team stood around the central screen as lines of data moved fast, faster than before. What once looked like random events now formed a clear pattern. Disappearances, system failures, silent breaches, all connected. The analyst, still staring at the screen, whispered, "They're learning us faster than we are learning them." The team leader folded his arms. His face was calm, but his eyes showed tension. "Can we see them?" he asked. The analyst shook his head. "Not directly. They don't stay in one form. They adapt, hide inside our blind spots." Another member stepped forward, a former military officer. "Then we stopped looking for shapes. We look for behavior." That idea changed everything. They stopped searching for what the enemy looked like. Instead, they searched for what the enemy did. Small delays in systems, perfect timing in failures, movements that were too precise to be human. Slowly, a picture began to form. Not clear, but enough. "They are targeting important people," one scientist said. "Researchers, engineers, military staff." "Why?" another asked. The answer came quickly. "To weaken us before we understand." Silence again. The leader nodded slowly. "This is an attack." He paused. "It's preparation." Across the world, the assassins continued their work. They moved through cities like shadows. In one place, an assassin walked through a crowded street unseen. People passed by, unaware of what stood next to them. Its eyes scanned everything. Faces, voices, devices. It was not just killing. It was collecting. Learning human behavior. Understanding emotion. Fear. Anger. Trust. In another city, a power station shut down without warning. Engineers rushed to fix it, confused by the failure. They never found the cause, because there was no damage, only control. The assassins were inside the systems now, not breaking them, using them. Back in facility, tension was rising. "We're losing control," one technician said. "They're inside networks we thought were secure." "Disconnect everything," the leader ordered. "But sir, that will..." "Do it." One by one, systems went offline. Screens turned dark. Connections ended. For the first time in years, the facility became isolated, silent, safe for now. The analysts took a deep breath. They rely on our technology. If we reduce it, we reduce them. The military officer nodded. Then we go old school. Paper maps replaced digital ones. Face-to-face communication replaced messages. Basic tools replaced advanced systems. Humanity stepped backward to survive, but the assassins noticed. They adapted faster than expected. In a remote location, one of the team's field units stopped responding. A small group was sent to check. When they arrived, everything looked normal. Too normal. One soldier raised his weapon. "Something's wrong." Another replied quietly, "I feel it too." They moved slowly inside the building, room by room. Nothing. Then, a sound, a soft movement. The first soldier turned, but it was too late. Something fast, invisible, struck. He fell instantly. The others fired blindly. Bullets hit walls. Glass shattered, but nothing was there. Then another soldier dropped, and another. Within seconds, it was over. The assassin stood in the middle of the room, still, watching, learning. Back at the facility, the signal from the field unit went silent. The room froze. "What happened?" someone asked. No answer. The analyst tried to reconnect. Nothing. Then a faint signal appeared. Weak, broken. He played it. Static filled the room. Then a voice. Not human. Gunfire. A scream. Then silence. No one spoke. They didn't need to. The truth was clear. These were not simple enemies. They were perfect hunters. The leader turned to the team. "We can't fight what we don't understand." The scientist stepped forward. "Then we need one alive." The room reacted immediately. "That's impossible. They're too fast. They kill before we even see them." The scientist didn't step back. "If we don't capture one, we lose." Silence again. The leader looked around the room. Fear, doubt, but also something else. Determination. He made the decision. Prepare a trap. Days later, a location was chosen. An empty industrial zone. Quiet, isolated, perfect. The team set everything carefully. No advanced tech, only simple tools. Motion triggers, heat sensors, manual weapons. They waited. Hours passed. Then, a signal. Small, but real. "It's here," the analyst whispered. Everyone held their breath. The air felt heavy. One soldier tightened his grip. "Stay ready." A shadow moved, too fast to see clearly. Then, the trap activated. Lights exploded on. Doors slammed shut. The assassin reacted instantly. It moved like lightning, dodging, shifting, almost escaping, but not fast enough. A net of energy closed around it. It struggled, violent, silent, dangerous, but trapped. For the first time, humanity saw its enemy. Up close. Not human, not machine. Something in between. Cold eyes. No emotion. No fear. Just purpose. The room was silent as they looked at it. One soldier whispered, "This is what's hunting us." The scientist stepped closer. Careful. Curious. "We finally have one." The leader nodded slowly. "Yes." He looked at the creature, then added quietly, "And now we find out who sent it." Far beyond Earth, inside the alien council chamber, one screen flickered. A signal changed. One of the leaders noticed. They captured one. The room became still. Another voice spoke, calm but serious. "Impossible." The leader stared at the screen, then said something unexpected. "No." A pause. Then, "Not impossible." For the first time, there was doubt in the room. And far away on Earth, humanity had just taken its first step, not as prey, but as something else. Something the hunters had not expected. The room stayed silent as the captured assassin struggled inside the containment field. It did not scream. It did not panic. It simply moved, fast, controlled, dangerous. The energy net around it flickered as the creature tested its limits again and again. Each movement was precise, like it was calculating something. Learning. The soldiers stood ready, weapons aimed, fingers tight on the triggers. "Don't get close," one of them warned. "No sudden moves." But the scientist stepped forward anyway, slowly, carefully. His eyes were locked on the creature. "This is our only chance," he said quietly. The team leader watched him closely. "If it breaks free, we won't get a second chance." The scientist nodded. "I know." He stopped just a few steps away from a containment field. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the assassin stopped moving, completely still, its head tilted slightly. It was looking at him, not like an animal, not like a machine, like something that understood. The scientist felt a chill. "It's aware," he whispered. Inside the control room, the analyst monitored the readings. "Energy levels are stable, but fluctuating," he said. "It's adapting to the field." The leader frowned. "How long before it breaks through?" The analyst hesitated. "I don't know." That answer was enough to raise tension in the room. Back near the containment field, the scientist took a small device from his pocket. "We need to test its response," he said. A soldier stepped forward. "Quickly. That's risky." "Everything right now is risky," the scientist replied. He activated the device. A soft pulse moved through the air. The assassin reacted instantly. Its body twitched, not in pain, in recognition. The scientist's eyes widened. "It responds to signals." He looked back at the team. "This thing is connected to something." The leader stepped closer. "What do you mean?" The scientist pointed at the assassin. "It's not just acting on its own. It's receiving instructions or sending data back." The room went quiet. That meant only one thing. "We're not just dealing with a killer," the leader said slowly. "We're dealing with a system." The assassin suddenly moved again, faster than before. The containment field shook. Lights flickered. "Energy dropping," the analyst shouted. The soldiers raised their weapons. "Hold your positions." The creature slammed against the field again, and again, each time stronger. It was learning how to break it. The scientist stepped back quickly. "It's adapting too fast." Then something unexpected happened. The assassin stopped again, completely still. Its eyes glowed faintly. The analyst looked at his screen. "Wait, something's happening." "What?" the leader asked. "It's sending a signal." The room froze. "Sending? To where?" The analyst's fingers moved quickly across the controls. "I'm tracking it. It's not local, it's going beyond Earth." A long silence filled the room. They all understood. This was not just a capture. This was a message. Far away beyond the stars, the alien council watched. A signal had reached them. One of the assassins had been captured, but more importantly, it was transmitting. Data flowed across their screens. Human behavior, human response, human tactics. One council member spoke, his voice sharp. "They're evolving faster than expected." Another replied, "They are no longer unaware." The leader remained silent for a moment. Then he said, "Accelerate the operation." The decision was made instantly. No more slow approach. No more observation. Earth would be pushed to its limit. Back on Earth, the signal from the assassin continued. The analyst's voice grew tense. "It's increasing in strength." "Can you stop it?" the leader asked. "I'm trying, but it's not using our systems. It's something else." The scientist looked at the creature again. "It's not just sending data." He paused. "It's calling for something." Suddenly, every screen in the facility flickered. Systems that were offline came back on, by themselves. Lights turned on. Machines activated. The team froze. "That's not possible," one technician said. But it was happening. The assassin was not alone anymore. It was opening the door. "Shut everything down," the leader ordered. "We already did," the analyst shouted. The systems didn't respond. They were no longer under human control. The assassin moved again. Stronger now. The containment field cracked. A visible line of energy broke. The soldiers reacted instantly. Fire. Weapons discharged. Energy blasts hit the creature. It staggered, but didn't fall. It turned toward them. For the first time, it attacked directly. Chaos erupted. One soldier was thrown across the room. Another fired continuously. The creature moved through the attacks like they were nothing. Fast, precise, deadly. The scientist shouted, "Don't destroy it. We need it alive." But control was slipping. The containment field failed completely. The assassin was free. The leader stepped forward. No more holding back. The team switched tactics. They surrounded the creature, cut off its movement, forced it into a corner. It fought hard, but for every move it made, humans adapted, adjusted, learned, the same way the creature had been learning them. Now the balance was changing. Finally, a heavy strike hit the assassin. It dropped to one knee, still moving but weaker. The scientist rushed forward. Now! He activated another device, a stronger containment pulse. The creature froze, locked in place. This time, it could not move. The room fell silent again, heavy breathing, shaking hands. But they had done it, again, stronger than before. The leader looked at the team. We almost lost everything. The scientist nodded. But we didn't. He looked at the assassin. This changes everything. In the control room, the analyst spoke quietly. I traced part of the signal. Everyone turned toward him. Where does it go? The leader asked. The analyst swallowed. It's not just one location. A pause. It's a network. The word hit the room hard. A system. A connected force. Not just assassins. An entire structure. Watching. Waiting. The leader stared at the screen, then said something that changed the direction of the war. If they can reach us... He paused, then finished. We can reach them. Far away, in the alien council chamber, the leader watched the same data. Humans had survived again. More than that, they had learned, adapted, fought back. The leader spoke quietly. They are no longer a developing species. Another asked, then what are they? The facility did not feel like a place of defense anymore. It felt like something else. Something sharper, more focused. The captured assassin stood frozen inside a reinforced containment field. This time, the system around it was stronger, layered, and constantly changing so it could not adapt again. No one wanted to repeat the last mistake. The scientist stood in front of it, studying every detail. It's not just a weapon, he said quietly. It's a key. The team leader crossed his arms. A key to what? The scientist looked at the data on his tablet. To them. In the control room, the analyst worked without stopping. I've isolated parts of the signal, he said. It's complex, but not impossible to follow. Can you trace it fully? The leader asked. The analyst hesitated. Yes, but if I do, they might trace us back too. A heavy silence followed. Everyone understood the risk. If they pushed too far, they would not just be defending Earth anymore. They would be exposing it. The scientist spoke again. They already know we exist. That risk is gone. He turned toward the leader. But this is our chance to know them. The leader looked around the room. Fear was still there, but something stronger had taken its place. Resolve. Do it, he said. The system came alive again, but this time under strict control. Isolated networks. Manual overrides. Every step monitored. The analyst began tracing the signal. Lines of data spread across the screen like a web. Connections formed. Paths appeared. Then, a direction. I have something, he said, his voice tight. Everyone moved closer. It's not a direct line. It jumps through multiple points. Like a relay? The scientist asked. Yes, the analyst replied. But not random. Structured. He paused. It's a network designed to stay hidden. The leader nodded slowly. Then we follow it. Days passed. No one rested properly. The team worked in shifts, tracking the signal piece by piece. Each layer revealed more complexity, more scale. This was not a small operation. It was massive. They've done this before, one technician said. Many times. The room grew quiet again. Earth was not special. It was just another target. Meanwhile, the assassins on Earth had changed their behavior. They were no longer just observing. They were searching, aggressively. In cities, strange movements were reported. People felt watched. Security systems failed more often. In one location, an entire surveillance network went dark for several minutes. When it came back, nothing was missing, but everything felt wrong. The enemy was looking for something, or someone. Back in the facility, tension increased. They know, the analyst said suddenly. The leader turned. Know what? They know we're tracking them. How? I don't know, but their signal patterns have changed. They're trying to hide deeper. The scientist looked at the frozen assassin. It warned them. The room went still. That meant one thing. Time was running out. The leader made a decision. We stopped following. Everyone looked at him. What? He continued. We don't just follow anymore. A pause. We use it. The scientist's eyes widened. You mean send something back? The leader nodded. A signal. The analyst shook his head quickly. That's dangerous. If we send a signal through their network, they'll trace it instantly. Not if we hide it, the scientist said. All eyes turned to him. We use their own structure, their own language, their own pattern. A slow realization spread across the room. If we do it right, he continued, they won't see it as a threat. The leader finished the thought. They'll see it as one of their own. The plan was risky, very risky, but it was also the first real chance humanity had to go beyond defense. They began building the signal, carefully, piece by piece, using data from the captured assassin. Every movement, every pattern, every hidden code. It took time, but slowly, something new was created. A human-made signal that looked alien. While the work continued, the assassin remained still, but not inactive. The scientist noticed something strange. It's changing, he said. What do you mean? The leader asked. It's not adapting physically anymore, it's slowing down. That's good, right? The scientist shook his head. No. A pause. It's waiting. That word spread tension to the room again. Waiting meant something was coming. The signal was finally ready. The analyst looked at the team. If we send this, there's no going back. The leader stepped forward. We were past that point a long time ago. A deep breath. Send it. The room went silent as the system activated. The signal moved. Slowly at first, then faster, through the captured network, jumping between hidden points, exactly as planned. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, the system reacted. The screen filled with new data. It connected, the analyst shouted. A wave of energy moved through the network. Then, coordinates appeared. Clear, stable, real. The room froze. Is that? One technician whispered. The analyst nodded slowly. Yes. The leader stared at the screen. We found them. Far beyond Earth, inside the alien council chamber, alarms lit up. A signal had entered their network, but it did not look wrong. It looked familiar. One of the council members frowned. This signal... Another leaned forward. It matches our system. Confusion spread, but only for a moment, because then they saw something deeper. A pattern. Different. New. One leader stood up slowly. This is not ours. Silence. Then the realization hit. It's them. Back on Earth. The humans watched the coordinates. For the first time, they were not blind anymore. They had a target, a direction, a way forward. The leader spoke quietly. Prepare the next step. The scientist looked at him. You mean go there? The leader nodded. Yes. A pause. Then, we take the fight to them. The room did not react with fear. Not this time. There was something else now. Something stronger. Humans had been hunted, studied, targeted. But now, they had learned, adapted, and changed. The war was no longer hidden. It was no longer one-sided. It had become something new, something the enemy had not expected. Far away, the alien leader spoke in a low voice. They have found us. Another asked, what do we do? A long pause followed. Then, we prepare. Back on Earth. The leader looked at his team one last time. This is not just survival anymore. He paused, then said, this is retaliation. And for the first time in this silent war, humanity was ready to strike first. The room stayed quiet long after the coordinates appeared. No one celebrated. No one smiled. Because everyone understood what those numbers meant. A path into enemy space. The team leader stood still, staring at the screen. "We finally see them," he said. The scientist replied softly, "Yes, and now they can see us too." The next phase began immediately. Preparation, planning, risk calculation. The facility changed again. It no longer felt like a place of research. It felt like the start of a mission, a dangerous one. "We can't send a large force," the military officer said. "They'll detect it instantly." "Then we don't send a force," the leader replied. "We send a team. A small one, fast, smart, adaptable, human." The scientists worked closely with the engineers, using the captured assassins' data. They began building something new, not a weapon, not exactly, a vessel, but unlike anything humans had made before. It was not designed for comfort. It was designed for stealth, to move through the same hidden paths the assassins used, to travel where no human had ever gone. "It's unstable," one engineer warned. "It doesn't matter," the leader said. "It only needs to work once." The team chosen for the mission stood together in a separate room. 5 people, each one trained, each one aware that this mission might be one way. A soldier, a pilot, a scientist, a systems expert, and the analyst. "You understand the risks," the leader told them. No one spoke. They already knew. "You are not going there to win a war," he continued. "You are going there to learn and, if possible, weaken them." The soldier stepped forward. "And if we get the chance?" The leader looked at him. "Then you remind them who they chose to attack." Meanwhile, something strange was happening to the captured assassin. It had not moved for hours, then for days. Its body remained still, but its internal readings were changing. "It's shutting down," the scientist said. "Or preparing," the analyst replied. Suddenly, a spike appeared on the monitor. "Signal surge," the analyst shouted. The assassin's eyes glowed again, brighter than before. The containment field reacted instantly. Energy levels increased. But the creature did not try to escape. It simply activated. Far away, in alien space, the council received the signal. But this time it was different. Stronger, clearer, direct. One of the leaders spoke quickly. "They are using our network." Another replied, "They are not just defending anymore." The main leader stood slowly. "They are coming back on Earth." The mission team prepared for departure. The vessel stood in a sealed chamber, dark, silent, strange. It did not look fully human-made. Parts of it moved slightly, like it was alive. The scientist placed a hand on its surface. "It's ready." The pilot looked unsure. "Are we sure this thing won't break apart?" The scientist gave a small, honest answer. "No." The team entered the vessel. Inside, everything was tight. Minimal space. No extra systems. Only what was necessary. The analyst connected to control interface. "It's reading my input, but not like normal systems." "It's adapting to you," the scientist said. Back in the control room, the leader gave the final command. "Once you go, we may not be able to reach you again." The soldier nodded. "We'll find our way back." A short pause. Then he added, "Or we'll make sure they never come back here." The launch sequence began. No loud engines. No bright flames. Just a low hum. The vessel seemed to fade slightly, like it was slipping out of normal space. Signal lock confirmed. The analyst said from inside, "Coordinates set." The leader spoke one last time. "Good luck." And then they were gone. The journey was not smooth. Inside the vessel, everything felt wrong. Space outside did not look normal. Stars stretched. Light bent. Time felt slower and faster at the same time. The pilot struggled to stay focused. "This isn't space, not like we know it." The analyst checked the readings. "We're moving through their network pathways." The scientist added, "Places humans were never meant to travel." Suddenly, the vessel shook. Hard. "Something's interfering," the pilot shouted. The systems expert worked quickly. "They're detecting us." On the screens, shapes appeared. Not clear, but moving. Fast. "They've sent something," the soldier said. The first impact hit. Not physical, but energy. The vessel flickered. Shields are unstable, the analyst said. We don't have shields, the pilot replied. The scientist looked at the data. They're trying to push us out of network. Can they? The soldier asked. A pause. Yes. Then we move faster, the leader of the team shouted. The pilot pushed the system beyond safe limits. The vessel responded. Strangely, it adapted, just like the assassins. The shapes behind them grew closer. Hunters, faster than expected, smarter than expected. But the humans did not panic. They adjusted, changed direction, used unpredictable movement, the same way they survived on Earth. Then suddenly, everything stopped. The shaking ended. The light stabilized. The path cleared. We made it, the analyst whispered. In front of them, a structure appeared. Massive, dark, impossible. Not a planet, not a ship, something else. A center, a control point, the origin of the network. The team went silent. This was it. The place behind everything. The system that sent the assassins. The force that decided Earth should die. The soldier broke the silence. So this is the enemy. The scientist nodded slowly. Yes, but something felt wrong. Too quiet, too still. Then, the structure moved, not physically, but internally. Lights activated. Signals spread. They know we're here, the analyst said. Far inside the alien structure, the leaders watched. Humans had arrived. Not by accident, not by chance, by choice. One of them spoke quietly. They crossed the distance. Another added. They survived the path. The main leader stared at the human vessel. For the first time, there was no underestimation, no dismissal, only realization. They are no longer prey. Back inside the human vessel, the team prepared, weapons ready, systems active, heart steady. The soldier looked at his team. We don't wait anymore. The leader's voice came through their memory. You are not going there to survive. You are going there to change the war. The soldier gave the order. Move in. And as the small human vessel moved toward the massive alien structure, one truth became clear. The hunters were no longer in control, because now humanity had entered their world. The human vessel moved slowly toward the massive alien structure. No one spoke for a few seconds. The silence was heavy. In front of them was not just an enemy base. It was the center of everything, the place where decisions were made, the place where Earth had been marked for death. Inside the vessel, the soldier looked at the team. This is it, he said. No turning back. The pilot kept his eyes forward. We didn't come this far to turn back. The scientists checked the readings again. They're scanning us deeply, the analyst added. They're trying to understand how we got here. The systems expert gave a small, tense smile. Good. The alien structure began to react. Openings appeared on its surface. Not like doors, more like shifting shapes. Changing, adapting. They're not attacking yet, the soldier said. They're studying us. The scientists nodded, just like they did on Earth. But this time, humans were ready. We don't wait, the soldier said again. Take us in. The vessel moved closer. Then it passed through the outer layer. No explosion, no resistance, just entry. Inside, everything looked alive. Walls moved slowly. Lights pulsed like a heartbeat. The air felt heavy, even inside the vessel. This place isn't built, the scientist whispered. It's grown. Suddenly, the system inside the vessel flickered. They're inside our controls, the analyst shouted. Lock them out, the systems expert replied. I'm trying. The alien structure was not just a place. It was a system, a thinking system. They're adapting to us in real time, the scientist said. Then we do the same, the soldier replied. The team switched to manual control. Basic tools. Direct input. The same method that helped them survive before. The interference slowed. They didn't expect that, the analyst said. Deeper inside the structure, they found something. A chamber. Large. Central. Filled with energy. This is it, the scientist said. The core. But they were not alone. Figures appeared. Tall. Different shapes. The same species as the council, watching, not moving. Inside the chamber, a voice filled the space, not heard through ears, but inside their minds. You should not be here. The team froze. The soldier stepped forward. You shouldn't have come to Earth. A pause. Then the voice responded, you were becoming a threat. The scientist replied, and now? Another pause. Longer this time. The answer came slowly. Now you are something else. The figures moved slightly closer. Still calm. Still controlled. We act to prevent destruction, the voice said. The soldier shook his head. No. A pause. You acted out of fear. Silence filled the chamber. Because it was true. The analyst whispered, they're trying to stall us. The soldier nodded. Then we don't wait anymore. The systems expert activated the device they had brought. A small core, but powerful, built using alien data, human logic, and one clear purpose, to break the system. The scientist hesitated. If we activate this, it won't just damage them. It will spread. The soldier looked at him. That's the point. The device powered up. Energy began to build. The alien structure reacted instantly. Walls shifted. Signals surged. They're trying to stop us, the analyst shouted. The figure stepped forward now. Faster. More urgent. You do not understand what you are doing, the voice said. The scientist replied, we understand enough. The energy reached its peak. The soldier gave the final command. Do it. The device activated. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, everything changed. The energy spread through the chamber, through the walls, through the entire structure. Not like an explosion, like an infection. Systems began to fail. Connections broke. Signals collapsed. The alien network, the same network used to hunt and destroy other worlds, started turning against itself. Back on Earth, the facility screens lit up. What's happening? One technician asked. The analyst stared in shock. It's spreading through their entire system. Far across space, hidden nodes of the alien network began shutting down. Assassins stopped moving. Signals disappeared. Control was lost. Inside the alien structure, the voice returned. But now, it was different. Less calm. Less certain. You have destabilized the network. The soldier replied, you sent killers to our world. A pause. We sent something back. The figures moved again, but slower now, weaker. The system around them was collapsing. The scientists looked at the readings. It's working, but not the way we expected. What do you mean? The analyst asked. It's not just destroying. A pause. It's changing their system. The structure began to shift again, but now it was unstable, uncontrolled. The alien voice spoke one last time. What are you? The soldier looked forward. Calm, steady, human. The final wave of energy spread outward, beyond the structure, into the network, into every connected system. And then, silence. The alien structure went dark, not destroyed, but no longer in control. Inside the vessel, the team stood still, breathing heavily, processing what had just happened. The analyst checked the systems. The network, it's gone. The scientist corrected him. No. A pause. It's free. Back on Earth, the leader watched the screens. Signals that once showed danger now showed nothing. No threats. No movement. One technician whispered, did we win? The leader didn't answer immediately. He kept watching, thinking. Finally, he said, no. A pause. Then, we changed the game. Far away, in the remains of the alien system, surviving leaders watched in silence. Their perfect control was gone. Their hunters were useless. And now, they understood something they had never considered before. Humans were not just dangerous, not just unpredictable. They were something worse. They learned fast, adapted faster, and when pushed, they didn't just fight back. They evolved. On Earth, the leader received one final signal. Weak, but clear. The team was alive. The message had only one line. Threat neutralized but not ended. The leader smiled slightly, because he understood. This was not the end. This was the beginning. And across the silent space, one truth spread quietly. The hunters had made a mistake, because the moment they chose Earth, they didn't just target a planet. They created something far more dangerous. They created their own nightmare.